We are back. Thank you for tuning in to Sundays at the Square. I'm your host, Tony Ringgold, and today I am sitting with Killeen City Councilman District 4, Mr. Steve Harris. Woo!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
And we are talking about, we're talking about a lot of stuff. But one of the things that we are focusing on today is the recent closing. Oh, okay. We're talking about the recent closing of the Friends in Crisis homeless shelter located in downtown Killeen. Of course, a lot of people have had a lot of questions about it, and I'm going to reiterate a little bit of what we talked about before for those who are just now tuning in. We definitely want to make sure that you are abreast of the situation. Number one, I think is really important for us to point out is that although the Friends in Crisis homeless shelter does receive funding, I think it's the CDBG funding.
Community Development Block Grant.
Okay. They receive that funding, and they have to go up just like any other nonprofit organization goes up to be able to get, have access to these funds. Although they receive the funds, they are not affiliated with the City of Killeen. Again, the Friends in Crisis is not affiliated business-wise with the City of Killeen. In other words, the City of Killeen is not responsible if this particular, if this homeless shelter or whatever nonprofit organization goes under, if they're not directly connected with you guys. Is that correct?
Yes, and actually they're associated with United Way. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I remember when I was on the council, and they first came up and they were asking for assistance. The topic came up about who they were under as far as nonprofit, and they said the United Way, but unfortunately, United Way doesn't give much money back to Killeen. And as far as giving money to the homeless shelter, because I remember I asked that question about how much money is United Way going to give to you, and they said somewhere close to 10% or something like that. But they explained how the United Way prioritizes the funding that they distribute out and everything like that. So they weren't eligible for hardly any funding from the United Way on that particular part. And they were having to seemingly almost do everything kind of by themselves.
Wow. Okay. And so I want somebody from the United Way. We need answers, people. We need answers because honestly, with, all jokes aside, it's baffling to me when you talk about the amount of money that they received. I know they've received well over $1 million from you guys.
Over the years, the total amount they've received from the spreadsheet I have here is basically I'll just round it. I'll just round it out. $3.1 million. Over the years, they've received $3.1 million.
When did they come to you guys? What year?
Well, the first time they came when I was on there was between 2013 and 2015. I can't remember exactly which time, but 2013 they did receive. Oh, let's see, 2013 they did receive $510,000, and then I do remember them coming back again at somewhere between that and 15, and also receiving the extra money, which totaled out to $750,000.
Well. Sorry. I gotta sip my tea, literally, y'all. I'm drinking an Arnold Palmer right now. I cannot. I don't understand that. I mean, I'm just being real. And okay. So now that we have all of this, and we see, we're starting to kind of I don't want to say shift blame because somebody's to blame, but what we do understand is that the City of Killeen definitely has contributed to the shelter, period, point blank. Mm-hmm. Now, our question is, and where we go to from here is, how can we get this shelter back up and running? And then my other question would be, how do we hold those who are running the shelter accountable so that this does not happen again?
I agree because now what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up coming before the council again, and they're going to ask the council for more money, as the city manager had said. And so when that time comes, then of course, I think some of us are going to have some questions for them. Right. And one of the questions that I'll ask, that I asked the first time is, okay, show me your business plan.
Right.
And
because even though it's a nonprofit organization, it's still a business.
It's still a business.
And you have to, yeah.
And some people have even suggested that we require them, because now usually when we have people get a CDBG grant, we usually require them to give us quarterly reports on what they're doing, how they're using their money, and so forth, and things like that. But we haven't required the shelter to do that. And so some people suggested that we actually do that and require them. Okay, you have to give us quarterly reports, let us know how things are going, and as a way to make sure that things are being done responsibly and to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again.
Right. One thing, again, guys, Officer Moore was going to be here today, but he had some family obligations. But a couple of things that I want to bring out that he made mention of. He said that it is a business and there is competition amongst other nonprofits. So my only guess is organizations don't want to be seen as weak because the money all comes from the same pot. But in this situation, it was too late. Another thing that he says is, for those who truly want to help, look into joining the Central Texas Homeless Coalition. Again, it's the Central Texas Homeless Coalition. They do have a Facebook page, and there are several huge projects we are trying to put together to bring affordable housing and a true solution to homelessness. I love it.
That's good.
I love it. Yes. Because here's the thing. And I'm not saying anything against Friends in Crisis. I'm not saying anything against any, because the Friends in Crisis, the different Teach Them to Love outreach, all of these different homeless shelters and organizations are definitely needed to assess and to help that immediate need. Correct? To help meet the immediate need when someone does not have a place to lay their head, to be able to say, listen, you do not have to sleep on the streets tonight. But what I like about what Officer Moore said is that they're looking for ways to help combat this, so that once that immediate need is met, how can we take you from point A to point Z? You know what I mean? How can we get you from here to now you have now you can find a permanent place for you to live? And I hate to say this, but it is actually very true. A good friend of mine out of Austin, she has her own organization that she does some things for. And I'm not going to put her name out there, but one thing that she did give me the inside scoop on, being that she is a nonprofit and she does offer immediate shelter services and things like that. A lot of these organizations, and again, I'm not saying this is Friends in Crisis, but a lot of these organizations depend on the need of their particular, like, okay, if you have people that are homeless, they need homeless people in order to continue to receive the funding to be able to keep their shelter open. And so what you see a lot of is repeat people. They go, they stay at the shelter for a little bit, and they may leave for a month or two, and then they're right back. And it's like a constant funnel in. But the shelters are getting paid off of these people's heads. So it's one of those things. When I hear Officer Moore say we're trying to really figure out how to combat this, I think that's what we really need to focus on too. Yes, we do need these shelters open for the immediate need, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're equipping everyone with the tools necessary to be able to come back and have a healthy and safe way of life. Officer Moore says the city does have a response to assist those who are out of place to bathe or wash clothes. We have worked out arrangements with a few locations to make sure people can be clean. You know what? And it's the simple things. It's the simple things like being able to just brush your teeth. You know what I mean? Or, not to be graphic, but when you think about a woman who has not reached menopause, can you imagine being on the streets and having to go through your monthly and not even having those proper things? I mean, it's terrible. And so just to be able, like you said, to be able to bathe and wash clothes and to be clean. And a lot of these people, I was reading one story in particular. It was a man who had, it came out, I believe, in the Killeen Daily Herald. And he was saying how, he finally got clean and sober. And, he's like, and I'm got a job interview, and I'm trying to get on my feet. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to stay clean if I had to sleep on the concrete. You know what I mean? That's just that hurt my heart. You know, that hurt my heart to hear that.
Yeah, because I'll say this though, because even as Officer Moore has spoken about, you know, we as a city, as a city, not as the city government, because everybody knows the city government is strapped for cash right now.
Right.
Hence the reason a street maintenance fee was implemented.
Right.
So, different things are coming down the pike right now that are increasing the cost of living in Killeen, simply because Killeen we don't have any money. We don't have any extra money. And then from what I read earlier this week, I believe the monies we were looking for the exemption reimbursements didn't fall through.
Oh wow!
And so we're still back where we are.
Right.
And even so, the citizens, we really encourage you to try to come together to try to help. Let's figure out some way,
right,
to help, because now, of course, at the same time, I guess if you want to say the city or even the citizens actually can help take responsibility in making sure the shelter stays functional or does everything
right.
that it's supposed to do if anything is being done incorrectly, because the city can give the shelter extra money, but will that solve the problem? Right.
And if we and it's all about, well, let me say this real quick. Officer Moore said if anyone needs help, if you don't have a place to stay, and if you need any help, please contact 254-423-7553. Again, that's 254-423-7553. But I like what you said. Yeah, you can give money all day. I've seen some of the richest broke people in the world. No, seriously. And I've seen some people that don't make a lot of money, but they got plenty of money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not about how much you make. It's about what you do with what you have. So if you're funneling out money and you're giving out money, but these funds are not allocated properly, what's going to end up happening is you're going to find yourself in that back in the same place.
Situation.
So me personally, I want me on the council, because I'm going to tell you.
I mean, because I'm
going to need to see exactly what's going to happen, what you're doing down to the dollar.
That's the business plan. So that's going to be one of the things that we have to look at when it comes to that.
Right.
And it's like I said, and the reason, this shelter is very unique in itself because it actually houses both men and women.
Right. Which I thought was great.
Yeah, and that is great, because a lot of shelters just focus on women and kids.
Right.
But this one focuses on both men and women, and that's unique in this whole area.
Right.
Not just in Killeen, but between Killeen, Coppers Cove, and so forth, and especially to have the capacity that they have to do that. And this shelter is important to the community. It really is, and it's just unfortunate that what happened has happened.
Right.
And like I said, we wish. I wish there was something. There was a heads up or something.
Right.
When it was coming, because it kind of puts me in the mind of, and I know you talked about it before. It kind of puts me in the mind of the HOP.
Right.
The HOP. What they did was, the state had put a broker in between. The Hill Country Transit and the state. And so what happened is the broker basically started taking more money than the state was taking. The state was giving money back, reimbursing and so forth, but the broker in between, from what they said, is taking more money. So what ended up happening was the HOP decided to use their rainy day fund, which was about $5 million. So they said, we can handle this. We can cover this for a few years, because legislators in the Senate or the Congress of Texas said it was only going to last for a few years, but it went beyond a few years.
Right.
And it got down to a point where the HOP couldn't afford to, they didn't have any more money left to do what they wanted to provide the services. And so they came to the city last year, as people remember, and asked for an extra $320,000. And the city didn't have that.
Right.
And so.
And then you got blamed. Yeah. That's something to keep in mind.
Right, we had no warning though.
Right, you had no warning, you had no way to plan for it, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're the money train. You're supposed to have all of this money. You're the city. Should have all of this money. Not realizing that you guys have to allocate it. You guys have to make sure that the whole entire city is run. And if they have this money and they have these things in place, you are assuming that they have everything that they need. So when you come and you're not prepared for it, that's life in general.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm so glad that you came and stopped by today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Is there anything that you want the people to know or, you know?
Yeah, there is. Okay, all right, citizens of Killeen, I'm gonna fuss at y'all for a whole second. Y'all have to vote. I'm using my country voice now. Y'all have to vote.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to vote. Because the things that if there are things about Killeen that you do not like, if you think there are too much of this or too much of that or not enough of this or not enough of that, you have to vote. In this past election by itself, when you saw the totals, I think it was only like 2,000 something people voted. That was a huge decrease from last year. And I'm going to tell you what, in my district, in District 4, I'll say it this way. The two people who won District 2 and 3, the number of votes they received individually was more than the entirety of District 4. The number of votes that the District 2 and District 3 candidates received individually.
Where is District 4?
District 4 is everything basically to the if you're driving southbound on Fort Hood Road, it's basically everything once you get to like somewhere around Far Hills, it's basically everything to the right of to the right of Fort Hood Road. Basically off of Old 440.
Oh wow!
And so it goes down through Far Hills. It goes down to Cody Poe. It goes down through parts of Watercrest. It includes CTC. It includes the airport. It includes everything on the basement.
And nobody out there was voting.
Nobody out there. All I can say it was nobody. No one candidate should have more votes than an entire district. And so, but that's going to be one of my initiatives over the summertime is just to figure out some kind of way to get people aware that there is a city council. Because I remember, like I said, I don't blame everybody because I didn't know there was a city council at one point in time until somebody told me. And so, but to get that awareness out that there is a city council, and if you want to make a change in Killeen, then you have to vote. And you have to try to keep up.
And it's not that myth that voting doesn't count. It does count. It does count. You know, and people get upset, the same people or whoever, and like you said, you're upset about what's going on, but you're not really taking the one thing that you can do, the one right that you can exercise that can make a difference is just going in and filling out that ballot.
Because even if you're in the military and you're here temporarily, if there's anything that you don't like about Killeen, I just ask if you just give us just 2 of your votes. Just give us 2 of them. Because 2 of your votes can change the direction that Killeen goes in. 2 of your votes can ensure that that things come in that you want to come in.
Right.
Because as city council members, I get phone calls, I get emails talking about different things, and those things that people bring up, I bring up to the council. I bring to the city manager. I put it on the agenda as an agenda item to see if it can get approved for discussion. Like I said, if it's something that's not being done or something that is feasible, I will bring it up.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, there are times where I bring stuff up and nobody's at the council meeting. It's, there's nobody there to back you up. And the way the council works is, for some people, if they don't see people,
it's not an issue.
It's not an issue to them. And they would completely vote against it. And so like in District 4 right now, we have the issues of some annexations and housing and other stuff like that going on. And, if people don't communicate with me, if people don't come to the council meetings and let the other council members see that there's a crowd here that says we want this or we don't want it, then they're not going to take it seriously. And they're going to vote how they vote because on the council, for the most part, it's generally a 4-2 or 4-3 vote consistently. More consistently with 4-3, but once in a while it's maybe 4-2. But otherwise, I mean, there are two separate blocks because city council is a nonpartisan council. There's no Republican, there's no Democrat, but it's almost like we run like that because you have
people that are focused on particular issues, and some don't find those issues important.
Because,
you know what? We over time.
Oh, we over
but
time?
I'm gonna bring you back.
So I was gonna tell you something. Go ahead.
Wait, no. What's the tea?
No.
The tea real quick.
No, I mean, to give you an example of how things are done. This past Tuesday, we were deciding on voting on whether or not a development could be built, and the city staff disapproved of a particular portion of the agenda item because it didn't meet our ordinance. It didn't meet our codes as far as the type of development that it was. It didn't meet the code.
Right. But
some way, somehow, our Planning and Zoning Commission, they liked it, so they voted 6-0 to approve it. But the city said but it doesn't meet our code. It doesn't meet the codes or the standards for what we have here for this type of development. But yet, the Planning and Zoning still approved it. Then it came to the council, and the majority of the council, even though
it didn't meet
our standards and our codes, the majority of the council still overlooked the staff and decided to take the word in direction of the P&Z over the staff. And so, guess what? It was a 4-3 vote. So I made that statement. Hey, it doesn't meet the code. It doesn't meet the standard. It doesn't meet the ordinance. And did they care? No. They still voted to go ahead and approve it.
Wow.
So that's where we are right now. When you have council members who, even though something is, out of code or out of ordinance, out of law, yeah. But yet they still approve it, and that's what we have. And so,
sitting on the council.
Yeah.
Now and then
go back and watch the video. This past Tuesday. Go back and watch that video.
Watch the video, y'all. All right. So this is good information. It's really valuable information. I thank you again for coming. Definitely will have you back. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Sundays at the Square. I am your host, Tony Ringgold. You can find this show and other shows right on B106, myb106.com. Again, that's myb106.com. Of course, you could tune in with me every Sunday here on B106. And also, you can follow me on Facebook at TONIRINGGOLD. You can also find me on Instagram at Tony Ringgold Music. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to Sundays at the Square. Thank you so much, Councilman Steve Harris, for coming in today. Man, you've given us
Thank you again for inviting me.
Yes, so much valuable information. Guys. I'm overwhelmed right now. But we're going to go ahead and end this show. And guys, I always want you to remember, always remember, there is enough sun for everyone to shine. Be blessed.